So after the last video I posted yesterday about our 8-day extended fast, I realized there was a lot of stuff that I really needed to touch on that I kind of missed in that video. I actually did not watch the video before uploading it. um, I am doing this while the 13-month-old sleeps. And so as I was wrapping up that video, she was actually waking up. And so I was just like, just upload it, just get it out there. I need this information out there. And so I actually watched it last night with Colt, and he was like, it was good. He was a little all over the place. You made some good points, but you didn't really elaborate. And okay, first off, if you are not with a person who can be real with you and be like, it was good, but, and actually, tell you where you could improve, you need to get you a different person because, I mean, that's the only way that you're going to know, right? Is if someone's real with you, and then you grow from that, you improve from that. And so I appreciated his comments. And I did realize, I was like, wow, there was a lot of ums, there were a lot of pauses. But I literally woke up yesterday morning and was like, I have not thought about this in the entire 8 days we've done this fast, but I need to make a video. Like, we've never done this before. Not lots of people have done it. I mean, lots of people have, but not very many people have recorded it and shared information and tried to help educate people on the topic. Um, so it was a very, very thrown together last minute thing. There was no script involved, clearly. And I just needed to get the information out there. So I would like to elaborate on it now. So basically, for us, I would like to elaborate on some of the things I mentioned in the last video, but I would also like to go over how day by day worked for us, what you can expect each day. So let's start with that. So, well, actually, you know what? Before you start the fast, at least 2 days prior, I mentioned in my last video, make sure you're not drinking any alcohol, um, and try really hard to limit your sugar intake. Try and keep it low, because those are two of the things that your body is going to seriously crave, otherwise throughout the fast. And it's just going to make it a lot harder. And so I think, let's see, for 2 days prior, we ate a lot of cabbage. Try and eat light foods also. So, you know, leafy greens, not bananas. Bananas are super heavy. Um, just things that are going to kind of go straight through you. So lots of fruit. Fruit is always a good option. And so we actually made this kind of thrown together mixture of like a pesto cabbage and mushroom, and there was another vegetable in there. Oh, peas. So it sounds weird, but it tasted amazing. But it was super light, and so it's not gonna stay in you for super long. So you want to eat light beforehand. Um, and so then starting with day one, um, if you're used to intermittent fasting, it shouldn't be too difficult. You're going to hit that, if you intermittent for 12 hours or 18 hours, you're going to hit that hour, and because it is so like deeply rooted, your brain is going to tell you, hey, you're hungry, you need to eat, whether you're hungry or not. And so you've got to kind of learn to not turn it off, but kind of ignore it. And so I always just take a really big drink of water when that occurs. Um, and so day one isn't too bad, except for when dinner time comes and you're used to eating and you're not going to. And so if you have kids, obviously, if you think you're able to prepare them food while not eating food, by all means, please make them a meal. If you don't think you can, order something, which actually is probably going to be harder because the smell of ordered food, like the moment it gets there, is like it instantly sets off all the happy chemicals in your brain, and you're like, oh my gosh, it smells so good, I must have it. Um, Maybe try and fix things. You could also meal prep. Meal prepping is an amazing idea if you're going to do this for other people that have to eat. That's what you should do. So, I don't have a problem with being around food when I'm doing this. I typically just make the kids' meals as we go. Colt has recently gotten to where he is able to do it. I'm super proud of him because it's hard. It really is like you were so used to eating like as soon as you want to most of the time, or even the moment you smell it, it just triggers. Yeah, so I do highly suggest that when it comes to dinner time. Dinner time is going to be the hardest when you are doing this on day one. So, sleep, it probably shouldn't really be affected day or evening one for anybody, unless you're just super hungry. Like I mentioned in the previous video, I keep a 32-ounce stainless tumbler on me at all times. Even at night, I keep it on my nightstand. Obviously, I'm not drinking from it near as often as I am through the day. But if you wake up and you're just like, oh my gosh, my mouth is so dry, or I'm just so hungry, just chug some water. And obviously, you're going to have to get up a couple hours later to go to the bathroom. But that is something that should be expected when doing this. That is something else I should have mentioned beforehand. When doing this, make sure you are close to a restroom at all times. um, I try to refill my 32-ounce cup at least every 2 hours. Um, be prepared to have to use the restroom at least once an hour if you're drinking enough water throughout this. So there's that. Keep that in mind. So if you work somewhere where you can't take that many breaks, I do not recommend doing this while trying to work, because I don't want you guys to end up with like a UTI or something, and that would really suck. So going on to day two is typically, day two and day three are normally the hardest. Just want to be real and real honest with you. Because at this point, if you've hit that 24-hour mark, your body and your brain are probably like, what is going on? And why am I not fueling myself as normal? And again, like you're not used to this. Your brain's not used to it. Your body's not used to it. So it's going to react and it's going to want you to fuel it, even though it has plenty of fuel. Um, it's just a habit. And so I promise you're not going to starve. You're not going to die if you go an additional 2 days or longer. And so on day two, we typically will start a pinch of salt. Day one, neither of us really need sea salt at all. Neither of us feel dizzy on day one or nauseated or lightheaded even. That starts happening normally on day 2 or 3. And it's temporary, I promise. So day two, I want to say in the mornings or afternoon time, we end up taking like just a little pinch of salt, like that big, maybe like the size of a dime, if that, not even probably. And so you can do that up to 8 times a day whenever you do feel dizzy or nauseated or lightheaded, and it really does help. Day two and day three, I typically get what is called a fasting migraine. I am prone to getting migraines only like 2 or 3 times a year typically. And if you're prone to this, expect it to happen. It is not the most horrible migraine I've ever had, and every time it feels about the same. And unfortunately, you can't take anything for it during this, except the salt really, really, really does help. I forgot to mention also, we typically start the morning with a cup of black coffee or a coffee with a little bit of stevia in it. That will also help your migraine. Caffeine helps migraines so much. So I recommend doing the coffee, doing the salt. As I also mentioned, the very taboo thing that you can do that will help alleviate it, like especially the migraine, is an enema or an anal bulb used in the bathroom. Don't do that in public. Uh, so it is known to alleviate the migraine pretty rapidly. And so, um, yeah, expect day two or three to kind of suck. And at that point, too, your body's like seriously having withdrawal symptoms, and you just kind of you have to work through it. Again, your body's not used to this. You've got to be patient with yourself. So I said dinner day one was bad. Dinner time day two, it's similar. But at this point, you're like, you know what? I've already skipped yesterday. That's fine. And so if it helps to have something, we did not do it in this fast, but typically we will have a cup of tea. And you can have tea with stevia or just plain tea. It can be cold, it can be hot, doesn't matter. It doesn't have enough calories in it to actually break the fast. And so, if you need something, tea is always a good option. Um, I have actually, we've never done this, but I will leave a link in the description. There is a doctor who has a ton of information on YouTube who he actually went through, fact or myth, what is allowed and what's not allowed um, during a fast. And so Zevia, the stevia based, 0 calorie carbonated beverage, is actually okay during a fast. It does not break your fast. And so if you want that carbonation and that flavor, go for it. Like you can do that too. It's not going to break your fast. These are just helpful things to help you get through it because after a few days, water by itself gets very, very, very underwhelming. And a lot of people tend to break their fasts early because they're just bored. Um, that's not the goal here. We don't want that. So these are other options that might help you kind of get through it. There is also a tea. I'll also leave the link in the description also for that called Peak Tea. And so it has extra electrolytes in it. And so the electrolytes will help too because your body is going to be depleting electrolytes. And so that's part of what makes you feel starting on about day three. So moving into day three, here we are. Day two, you're probably not going to sleep super well. I promise it's going to get so much better though. So, what your goal is 48 hours to 72 hours. That's where all the magic happens. And obviously, if you go longer, more magic happens. Imagine that. But your goal, you definitely want to hit 48 hours, if not 72 hours. And so, going back to day three. So, you're going to feel really worn out. Like, I was trying to find a nicer way to put it, but you're just going to feel worn out. And so your body's going to need electrolytes. And so this Peak tea has electrolytes in it. It's green tea, which has electrolytes in it. And so it actually helps a lot. I highly recommend it. But something else I just remembered too that you can drink is Smart Water, which also has electrolytes in it. And so the electrolytes will definitely help starting day three when you're starting to feel a little depleted, just a little weaker. Something else going back to exercise is something I wanted to mention. I do regularly still work out while I fast. I always have. And so before we had Lilith, we did probably 4 or 5 extended fasts. And on my 5-day fast, I worked out, I believe, 4 out of the 5 days. Day 2 was the day I definitely didn't, but I had a horrible migraine. Like, it sucks because I had a migraine 2 days prior to starting the fast. And so that particular one on day 2 was just extra bad for some reason. I'm assuming it's associated. So but I worked out the other 4 days, and I was strength training at the time with my friend who's a personal trainer. And I think if I recall correctly, I went up on my weights at least 5 pounds for everything. But it was with fasting. Besides when you're feeling weak, again, if you restore your electrolytes, you replenish them with either smart water or green tea. Um, like you almost have more stamina. It's like you get this energy from fasting after day three. um, so as I said, it gets well. We'll stick with that for a minute. So I remember Kathy saying, my friend who's the personal trainer, Kathy. She mentioned like, oh my gosh, like I feel like you're doing this better than normal. But I remember feeling like I could focus more. I could just get through it. I had more stamina and had more focus. And that was one of the first things I noticed that was beneficial about this whole fasting thing. And I want to say that was day three. And so I currently am not strength training. Currently, with this 8 day fast, I did yoga on day one. I skipped it on day two. I skipped it on day three. No. I did it on day three. I skipped to day four, and then I did yoga on day five, six, seven, and eight. Um, day was it day four or day five? One of them was really rough for me this past week. So we'll get back to that though. So I do recommend trying to work out while you are fasting. If you want to take it lighter, by all means, definitely do. Listen to your body. If you're feeling super, super weak, drink something with electrolytes, see how you feel. If you're still not feeling better, don't force it. Don't force anything in life, please. Um, but so if you need to take a break, take a break. Give yourself some grace and patience again. So, even with my yoga this past 8 days, over the 8 day fast, like I tried to do lighter flows. If you are someone who meditates, I highly, highly recommend meditating while fasting because of the mental clarity you gain around day three. Um, the experience itself is just super heightened, at least for me. I think for Colt too. So I definitely recommend it. And if you've never meditated, this would be the time to do it. You're going to have the extra time. You're not going to be preparing food. You're not going to be eating food. Use that time at least 2 of the days during your fast. If it's longer than 2 days, at least half of your fast, though, try and meditate. I promise you're going to feel amazing if you do. so, so day three, going back to that, God, I side story all the time. I super apologize for that. So if you're still sticking with me, thank you. So day three, dinner is not bad. Oh, that's something else. We walked 1 to 2 miles, 4 of the 8 days that we fasted. Um, Not bad at all. So dinner is not as bad day three. Because at this point you've done it twice, your body is like, okay, this is how it's gonna be. Cool. And so day three, it's the evening of day three starts getting a little easier. I do recommend having projects or things to keep you busy. If you're a gamer, play games. Just unless you're like a snacker and a gamer at the same time, that's probably not good. You're going to set yourself up to fail. Don't do that. Um, but have things that will keep you busy throughout all of this because it's going to help keep your mind off of wanting to go to food because when we're bored, we don't have anything to do. Oh, food. Oh, you're going to hit my dopamines. Oh, you're going to make me so happy. So don't do that. Have things that keep you busy. So night three, it is very possible you're going to have some of the best sleep you have ever had. Besides urinating every hour, at this point, you're going to be doing number two also. So And you're going to notice it's going to start becoming less solid over time and darker over time. That those are both normal things. Oh, something else about day three. You might get a little jittery starting day three. Again, if you replenish your electrolytes, that should help. But that's a normal thing too, so don't like freak out and think you're dying or anything. It's very, very normal to be jittery. It's very normal to be lightheaded. Um, just try and take things easy, but have things that keep you busy. So like, don't decide you're gonna go like chop down trees and like on day 3 or 4 of your fast or anything. Uh, so, um, so moving on to day 4. Day 4 typically is the start of this euphoric, amazing, clear, just wonderful journey. Just to put it frankly, you're going to feel very clear. You're going to feel very light. Expect to feel happier because you have this clarity. And it's almost like you've opened up this so much additional time throughout your day. Like you kind of have time to sit back and appreciate things a little better. You notice things. You slow down a little. And because you're trying to take it a little easier, and you're taking things slower at that point, anyways. So you just tend to notice more and it makes you appreciate more. And you should just feel really, really euphorically good most of the time on day 4. Again, for me, day 4 was rough this round. I think it was day 4, day 5. No, it was day 4. It was day 4. So something else that can possibly happen when you are extended fasting, because everything after that 72-hour mark, or hitting that 72-hour mark and on, everything is basically repairing itself throughout your whole body. And so if you did not know this, certain areas of your body repair themselves ever so often, like every few weeks, every few months, just depending on the area. But when you're doing this, like your stomach has the time to take a break, which it rarely gets. And then it's a cleanse. That's what most people call this, I think. And that's the perfect word for it. You're giving yourself a break and it's cleansing. And but yeah, going back to day 4, something else that could be affected, and I didn't know this. This is the first time this has ever happened to me, and this was our 9th extended fast. It triggered my monthly cycle to start. And so I kind of panicked for a minute. And then I did some research and I found out it's actually very, very normal because everything is repairing itself. Everything is basically like restarting, if you will. And so any hormonal imbalances you have, and I didn't know this before. I want to say Dr. Fung, I want to say it was covered in the Ultimate Guide to Fasting book that I read, that I highly recommend. I will also put that in the description. I put it in the last one, but I'll add it here too. Um, it triggers your hormones. And so I'm viewing it as a really good thing because I have an IUD. I don't actually normally get them. And so monthly cycles. And so it was very, very surprising. But it only lasted a day, just that day. But because I was already kind of feeling weak previously, and then my whole day started with that, I felt extra weak, way more than normal on day 4, because normally day 4 I feel phenomenal. But this time, because of that, I was just really tired and I was crampy. And so I actually spent a lot of day 4 laying down in bed when I wasn't chasing after Lily. And so that's okay. Expect that. Don't be surprised. Well, don't expect it, but don't be surprised if it happens. It's normal apparently, and it's good. It's good for it to happen. So after day 4, though, it went away. And so typically the way I feel on day 4 is how I woke up feeling day 5. Oh, and by day 4, like it's a weird feeling, but you get to where like you don't even think about food. And so at this point, because it takes basically, you can do something 3 times to make it a habit. So you got 3 days of doing this. Day four typically goes well because of that the whole reason. And so day four, I think we both, like, the dinner time came around and we were like, oh, I haven't even thought about food today. Oh my gosh, me neither. Like, it's it's kind of cool. It's weird too because we're so used to craving food and thinking about food, and so then when you stop thinking about it, because you're not constantly stuffing your face with it, like, it's weird but cool. And so day four's sleep was freaking amazing. Also, starting day three or day four, depending on who you are, expect your senses to heighten. That's something else that's really cool that I forgot to mention. And so, when you smell things, they're going to smell amazing. Everything. And you're going to start noticing smells that you didn't notice before. That's also very normal. It's also a very neat addition to all of this, I guess, because again, when you're already appreciating everything else a little more, like, you appreciate smells more. I mean, that's not something we think about often, and maybe we probably should. So day five is wonderful. Both of us were like, oh my gosh, I feel so good. You've got this amazing energy still going. And you almost feel floaty. Like, it's almost like a natural high. And you're just kind of floating around all day and you're just like, yeah, life is wonderful. And this is so nice. Oh, you're so pretty. Like, I even noticed it with Colt. They just, I don't know, it seemed like he noticed things and appreciated them more and he voiced it. And it was just super nice because I felt the same way. And so day five, don't expect to think about food. Uh, and again, at this point, you're still going to have moments of lightheadedness. You're still going to have moments of jitteriness. But they're very, very temporary. And so with that, you just do the pinch of salt, get some electrolytes, and you're good. And then for us, days 6, 7, and 8 were just like a breeze. It was almost like you weren't even fasting at this point. I mean, we just kind of went about our days the same way we'd have normally, just without food, and it wasn't really a thing. Like, it was weird but cool. Um, so that was basically, and so when you do decide to break the fast, which we decided to break on day 8, make sure you do it with fruit. If you don't break your fast properly, you're going to have a ton of issues, and I don't want that for you. So make sure you break it with fruit or light raw vegetables. And so the reason for that is this, if you can do fruit, that would be ideal. Reason being is because fruit is super soft. Don't do banana. Don't do banana. I've already mentioned that before. Don't do banana. But like if you do pineapple or orange or apple or watermelon, especially, it's super soft. Cantaloupe, honeydew, any softer fruit, it's going to be easier for your stomach to digest. And so you've got to remember it's had all these days off and it's been repairing and it's shrunk. It's shrunk immensely because with fasting, you're going like, you have so much inflammation all the time that you don't realize you have. And when you fast, the inflammation goes away. Your body expels the mucus. That is what that's there when it's all inflamed. So you want to make sure you break it with fruit because it's easier for your stomach to digest, but also the fruit will help push down any additional mucus that is stuck. Like I mentioned, your intestines are kind of like pipes. And so the coil, you've got little things stuck. And your body is expelling all this mucus throughout the whole process, which is really good. You need that. And so the fruit will kind of flush whatever mucus is left out, and you can start afresh. And so, transition there. Baby woke up. So she's here now. So if you hear interrupting, I'm sorry. One last thing that I wanted to go over was the weight loss. From this all, obviously, you're going to lose weight by not eating for 8 days. It's something I wanted to talk about, and it's something I failed to mention in the first video, and I'm not even sure how that happened. but I was all over the place. We know that now. Um, expect to lose weight. Make sure you weigh yourself in the mornings. Make sure you're keeping up with your weight throughout this, first off. Weigh yourself in the mornings. That's the best time of day to weigh yourself, and expect your weight to fluctuate a lot throughout the day. It could fluctuate anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds a day. Like, you could weigh something in the morning, and that night you could weigh 4 or 5 pounds more, and you're like, but I haven't even eaten. How does that work? But you're gonna wake up the next morning and you will be lighter than you were the previous morning. Body works in mysterious ways, man. So besides weighing in on the mornings, um, expect to keep the weight off. So I lost 15 pounds in 8 days. Colt lost 14 pounds in 8 days. I am expecting to gain about 2 to 3 pounds back of water weight over probably the next week or two. But the rest is going to stay off. We actually fasted before Lily and both lost about 20 pounds in 3.5 months, doing extended water fasts. And that was like between a 2 day, a 3 day, and a 5 day was the last one, or maybe the second to last. But both of us lost about 20 pounds in that time, and we both kept it off until I decided to get pregnant with Lilith. And, obviously things changed then. So, this isn't a temporary thing. It's not like you're just going to lose weight and you're only going to, be that light while you're fasting. This is something you can expect to stay like I said, as long as you're breaking the fast properly, and as long as you're not shoving your face full of super unhealthy things afterwards. Which someone actually, hi. Something else I wanted to cover was this makes you much more aware of what you're putting into your body. And so because of that, it's not just a conscious thing, it's actually works on a subconscious level too. And so without even realizing it, your body is going to start craving things that fuel it, as opposed to things that just trigger your dopamine levels to go up. So, you will kind of start craving more healthy foods because you've kind of reset everything, and you've gotten out of the habit of craving all the unhealthy things that you were eating before. And now, are you still going to want those things from time to time? Yes. Chances are it's not going to be as often, though. And because you're going to be more aware of what it is you're putting into your body, because you've had this time to kind of go without it and, I don't know, feel the different effects, and taste. Oh man, the taste. Certain things that you loved before you fasted, do not be surprised if afterwards you try them and they're not as good, or you taste the chemicals in them. I mean, that happens to me all the time. Every once in a while, like for years, occasionally, like I'm not a soda drinker, but for years, off and on, I would crave like a fountain Coca-Cola. Super ice cold with all the ice, yes. It would be just like, it would hit that spot, that burn. Ugh. And now I taste it and I'm like, you can taste all the chemicals, and it's really, really weird. It messes with your head in a good way. So, I think I've covered, excuse me. I think I've covered for the most part everything that I wanted to cover with you guys. If you are breastfeeding, I don't recommend doing an extended fast. Believe me, I could not wait to extend fast after I had Lily. But I did a lot of research, and I found more leaning towards the fact that it will hurt your milk supply if you do extended fasting. And so I would definitely, I intermittent fasted for several months while I breastfed, and it worked well. Like, that's something that is definitely doable, and just save the prolonged fasting until you're no longer breastfeeding. Just give it, it can be something you really look forward to. I'm hoping that I have covered pretty much everything. If I come up with anything else, maybe I'll make another video. We'll see. But if you have any questions, please, please, please feel free to reach out to me, whether it's in the comments below or if you want to private message me. If you know me personally, text me, call me. Like, I would love for more people to know about this and the benefits, and I would love for more people, I don't know, to try something that could really truly not just benefit your health but prolong your life. I mean, we get, I believe in reincarnation, let's just put it out there, but as far as we know in this lifetime, right here and now, this is it. So the healthier you can be, the better you're going to feel, the longer you're going to get to live this lifetime. So, it's pretty important to me, and I would imagine it's pretty important to most people. So, more people should know about this. More people should be doing this if they are able to do it. Obviously, it's going to be scary if it's something you've never done, and it's, again, taboo. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm here. If you feel insecure about it, you're unsure, you're terrified, please reach out. Let me help you. If not, that's cool too. But I will definitely share a lot of links below, so, or wherever it is. I think it's below here. So that if you want to do your own research, you can. I highly encourage it. I'm going to put the link to a documentary we watched for about an hour and a half, and it basically covers everything you could ever want to know about fasting. It was super beneficial to watch too. Lily says hi. Yeah, that's about it. I have talked for far too long now. So again, please reach out if you have questions or concerns. I would love to help. Until next time, guys. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. You were amazing.